good evening, everyone. Good evening, Budgie.
Good evening, Mick. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. So we have a technical problem tonight for those who are listening in. Our host, Jeffrey, is having computer problems, and he will join us as soon as he can. So unfortunately, you're left with me, and fortunately, you're left with Budgie.
No, that's a bit unfair, Mick. You do a fine job of hosting. Come on, son.
So, Budgie, we have our new manager.
We do.
Officially confirmed.
Officially confirmed. Yeah, the worst kept secret in Premier League history, I think. But what was a bit of a surprise to me was that the deal was done in January, I'm told. And yeah, apparently he's been in place since January, which kind of coincides with the beginning of the downfall of our performance levels.
Well, did you? I didn't see the interview, but I read the interview from Kevin Nolan. Did you see that this week?
I haven't seen it. No.
Right. So Kevin Nolan said that the decline of the team coincided with Moyes' comments in public, Sky Sports, Match of the Day, etc., where he was asked about his new contract. He said, "There's one on the table, but I'm in no hurry to sign it. I'll look at it at the end of the year." Mm-hmm. Now, Nolan's comments, it was actually TalkSport, I heard it on as well. TalkSport, he said that was the decline. He said, because the next day, he said, well, players are asking him, well, what's happening with the gaffer? What's happening with the gaffer? He says, and as the weeks roll by, came pretty clear that he probably wasn't going to sign the contract. Right. And like all people who are employed and when the player plays at West Ham, he plays for David Moyes, yeah? Or whoever the manager is. We all know that, you know. Being a manager myself many, many years, yeah, and the players play for me. They don't play for the sponsors and all that. They play because you're there and they want to play for you. Yeah. And he said that was a decline of performances. And he said the
uncertainty.
Yeah, he said he should have signed that contract or said no, I'm not. At least everyone knew where they were. So he said there's been a lot of bad press around. I don't think Sullivan deserves and the board deserve all the bad press they get. We have to remember where we were before they came in as well.
Yeah,
I know there's lots of things about the stadium and all that, but basically we're in a pretty solid position in terms of a Premier League club. And yeah, he was offered, he didn't take it. That's from the horse's mouth. That's from one of his own stalwarts, if you like. That you know, yeah. So,
I just want to make a quick point before we go on any further, Mick. Guys in the chat, we can't actually access the comments and put them on screen because neither of us have got access to the studio, other than as guests. So we will be able to read them out, but we won't be able to display them on the screen until Jeff gets here. All right. Wow. So I just wanted to acknowledge that Leslie Barden is in the chat again, as usual. The regular that is Leslie. He says, "Evening, Jeff, Mick, and chatters. If Bruno deal is done before the window opens, definitely a change from our usual time at the start. Deals, exciting times." And then he says, "Evening, Budgie." Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for the comments. And Keith Knight's in the house. Evening, Budgie and Mick. And as you've just joined us, Keith, the dithering old git's having trouble with his computer. No, Jeff is having a few problems, so he'll be back soon. Sorry, Mick, carry on, mate.
No, good evening, gents, and thanks for your comments. Well, we can move on to Bruno if you like, because I've also seen that tonight. And maybe, again, talking about the board and Sullivan and all their dealings and that, maybe I can never say Tim's surname. I can never say that name. But with our director of football, and our new manager that's used to working in that way, maybe that's the way forward. Maybe we've come out of the past and into the future like a lot of clubs have, because at the end of
indeed. And, these players, these would have been identified by Steiden a long time ago, weeks and weeks ago. He would have, had words to see if there's any interest on the player's part. Obviously, he ain't going to do nothing, under the table. It's all going to be above board with him. He's always done it that way, and he always will. But apparently he was part of the process in choosing Julian Lopetegui as well. So, this looks like it's a joint venture with a good, starting foundation. The guys want to work together by the look of it, which is really good.
I think that's important. I think modern day football, compared to, say, even going back to the days of Fergie, which aren't that long ago, where they ruled the roost in the club and everything was done for them. I think that pressure's too much now. I think there's too much to do, and there's a lot of things to take care of. But the most important thing is the team. And I think he's got a good coach, and he's got more or less the players he wants. I don't think every club has every player that he wants. But if he has most of the players that he wants, and he's got to work with a couple of players that he might think, I need to improve them, then that's his job, to improve the players. Coaches now are there to coach and win football matches.
He's not there to manage. He's there to coach and to select his playing 11.
His teams, and let the club be managed overall by people. Look at Manchester United. That's the first thing that's come into Man United. Look at our structure. It's all wrong. That's the big thing they're going for. Chelsea have gone in. It's not a great example, but they believe in having...
But Manchester City and Brighton are very good examples.
Yeah, but you're saying this... Is it Mariseka, the Leicester manager that's going? Is that the right pronouncing of it?
I'm not sure, Yeah.
Well, he's going to Chelsea now, and everything that I'm listening to, because, again, I don't know, I'm only listening... They say his way, his coaching is he'll coach the players they give him. Obviously, he'll have a bit of a say, but ultimately, I don't think he's got too much say with the amount of players Chelsea already have anyway. I don't think it's going to change much, but he's happy to say, I'll coach them and make them a team. And I think that's the way modern football's gone. Yeah, the days of I'm having him, and I want the team.
Fonseca.
Fonseca. No, it's not Fonseca, is it?
Isn't it?
I don't think it is. Is it Mariseka or so? Maybe that's his full name. I don't
know. I just want to say good evening to Happy Hammerat, our moderator, who's in the chat. Oi, oi, Hammerloys, she says. Leslie says hi to you as well, Happy. Right, so she says she's effing liking this potential new signing. The bloke looks like a beast in the back line. And could be coming in so bloody quick too. Not used to this, she says, laughing. Indeed, Bruno something, I can't remember his surname now. But yeah, he's looking like he is quite a beast, and the nice thing, the nice thing is that now that Angelo Ogbonna is stepping down, we need that big, heavy, tall guy in the middle at the back.
He's got a bit of pace as well, I understand.
That's what I've been heard. And he's very good in the air, from what I've read. So, yeah, happy. Yeah, we're very happy about this guy. Bruno.
His name is Bruno Fabbricio.
That's it.
I looked him up earlier, so it's still on my Google.
Brilliant. Fabrizio Bruno. Happy says it is. Sorry, I can't stop about as just with me mum. Promise to watch back later. Okay, well, that's fine, sweetie. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, thanks for popping in.
That's Miss Hammerat, that is. That's not Happy Hammerat.
All right, okay.
Sorry, thanks, Kate. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, I can't see any of these, Budgie. How come you can see them?
Because I clicked on the top right-hand corner where it says comments.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Have you got the chat available?
No.
Oh, well, I'll do the chat. Don't you worry about that, mate.
Cokey, mate.
Have you got a thing that says private chat?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Not the
I've
worry.
got nothing. I've got you, me, and the bowling lounge on a picture up the top of what's up 6016.
Yeah. So that's basically the background
Yeah.
on the studio. All right, not to worry. So, Missy, thank you very much for popping in, sweetheart. Love you loads. Speak to you soon.
You make your screen smaller, see if that helps.
Leslie says, on Chelsea, I'm surprised that Poch was sacked, but 2 people responsible for transfers remain. Yeah. Good evening to Richard Cox. Thank you for joining us, sir. Do you know who Richard is, Mick?
Not off my head.
No? Okay. So, you're aware of a young lad called Jake who does West Ham Unofficial?
No, I also don't know. No.
Oh, well, he's a young lad. He's only 16, I believe, now. He's been going for about 3 or 4 years. Really good lad. Really, really good lad. And him and his dad, Richard, they go to every away game and a lot of the home games. But they live in Somerset. So it's not easy for them to get to every game. But they do go to every away game. Or as far as I'm aware, the only away game that I went to since I've been going back is the Brighton away game this season. And I saw Richard and Jake there. In fact, Richard took a really nice picture of me doing the cross irons in amongst the away crowd. So that was really nice.
Are they online now?
He says, hopes you're both well. So, yep.
Thank you.
Well. Brighton, indeed, Richard. It was great. It was great. Happy says, I find it so hard when it's streamed on 2 channels as I only get 1 set of comments. Yeah, I'm getting them all. I'm only streaming it on my channel because I'm, just adding content to the channel, really. Keith saying hello to everybody. Right, so, yes, on this young lad, Bruno, from what I'm led to believe, is that he's also captain material.
Right. He's 28.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's got a maturity about him. He's got experience. Okay, he's only ever played in the Brazilian league, as far as I'm aware.
That's correct.
But, where do 50% of the world's best players come from? Brazil.
East London, I thought it was.
Yeah, good one. But I'm liking the look of him.
He's only got 2 international caps and he got them both this year. Apparently, it says 2024 where I looked him up. I mean, I don't know much about him, so I'm going to sit here. I see he was being linked, and I had a look at him, and there's no bad press about him.
No, but the thing I like about him is that, as I said, he's been quite a stalwart in his side for a few years now, 3 or 4 years, and all of the managers that he's worked under, I say all, I've read like testimonies from 2 of the managers that he's played under, and they both said how hardworking he is, how generous he is with his knowledge and expertise, and like teaching the lads and stuff like that in the academies and stuff. He spends a lot of time with, I suppose we would call it charity work. They called it community assistance or something. But he does quite a lot of work with underprivileged kids in the neighborhoods and that around Brazil.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah, and he's a thoroughly decent guy, from what I understand. Now, I don't know if he's under any delusions that Paquetá's going to still be playing for us. I don't think he is. I don't think any of us are now. Whatever happens with this legal case, he's never going to kick a ball for West Ham again, is he? Let's be fair.
No, we'll talk about that in a while, to be honest. Yeah. Another subject, isn't it?
Just want to say good evening to Wasim. He's in the building. Good evening, Wasim.
Good evening, Wasim.
And Richard saying good evening to everyone in the chat as well. Right, so I think if he comes, if signing happens and he comes to the club, I think he's going to be him and Mavropanos in the middle there. I think will be quite a large and forceful defence. You know, we know how good Emerson is in defence and how good he is breaking forward. All we need to do to add to that is get a really quick, good defensive right back. I'm not saying get rid of Vladimir Sufal because he's been a stalwart for us. He's been great. And some of his assists have been exceptional. But I want to see us have somebody challenging him, somebody younger, somebody.
Johnson go, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think there's anything we could do now to stop that from happening. So now we need to find a replacement for him. We're probably going to get £5 to £8 million for him, maybe 15.
Right.
Who knows?
Who, Johnson?
Yeah.
He's out of contract.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, we're going to get fuck all for him now. Also,
Yeah.
Yes, he's out of contract. You're absolutely right. He is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're not going to get anything for him. But so we need to replace him, and we need to be looking at somewhere between 8 and 15 million, I reckon, to replace him. You know, that's what I reckon we need to be spending on that right back position. Maybe
in many ways, it's a shame Southampton went up because, well, we might get rid of Ings, so that might be a good thing. But yeah, I quite like that Kyle Walker-Peters at Southampton. He's a good.
Yeah, but he ain't going anywhere, and I don't think Flynn Downs is coming back either.
And
which is a bit of a shame.
It is.
As a squad player, someone that could step into the breach if Alvarez is out for any reason, I think you'll find that Flynn Downs would be very capable. Look how good he's been this season.
Yeah, different level.
It is a different level, but
he wasn't. Yeah, he has played well. I'm not saying that, but we need. If I think we'll be playing a whole different style of football under this guy.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with Guillem Barrian or whatever his name is, the Spanish reporter that says he's going to be very special for us. So let's hope he is. All right, what about our friend then, Mr. Paquetá?
Well,
looks like he's let us down. He didn't play very well. I was talking about him being Hammer of the Year when he was out injured there, early part of this year. I can't remember, and I said he's a massive influence on the team. But the interesting one on that, before you say anything, Budgie, I was reading. I think it was an article out of the Guardian on one of them papers, one of the sports reporters, and he was writing about him, and he said the reason that he was charged was the day he was charged was the last day they were able to charge him. Yeah. So they've made the charge, but maybe not be able to substantiate as much as they want to do. So again, as Simon Jordan said on Sports
Talk shite, yeah.
Talk shite. Yeah, that you're innocent to proven guilty. And I think there has to be a bit of that. They showed the tackles on the telly time and time again, but
I'm not convinced by them all, though.
No,
I don't think he's deliberately trying to get a card.
No.
Not by any of them. I mean, the
No,
one
'cause
where
that's
he
the way he
goes in
played.
for the second bite of the cherry, he was trying to get the ball. He was trying to get the ball, in my opinion. Yeah, okay, I might have a pair of, claret and blue tinted glasses on when I'm watching it, but I'm still not convinced. I'm not convinced.
How
And the
much
thing
money?
is, I've been saying, sorry, Jeff, I've been saying for probably the best part of 4 days now, or 5 days since it happened, since the charges were said. I've been saying they had to charge him because of the time restraints on the case. They had to charge him. They were running out of time. And you're telling me that it's been leaked that it was on the last day that they could have charged him.
Yeah.
To extend the inquest, the inquiry.
Yeah. But they only have.
I've been saying this for a
They've
week.
only got to the end of June. He's got to the 3rd of June to appeal, which is next week. Yeah. And I think I read so much rubbish when I'm sitting on the tube. I'm sure he said they've only got to the end of June to prosecute, whatever the word is, charge him. That's the word I'm looking for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And if they don't charge him by then, I think they have to dismiss the case.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting.
There is a lot of corroborating evidence, like all these accounts that were opened on this island, or this area in Brazil, and they've only been betting on yellow cards for him. But the thing is, like I said, when was it? Sunday on the takeaway with Tony on Early Doors Football TV. I said, if that's the case, what happens now if half of Mexico starts betting on Alvarez to get a card? What does that mean? He's going to be investigated and accused of the same thing.
Because he's got a massive. He's had bands amount of cards he's had, hasn't he?
Exactly. But then so has Paqueta. You have a look at how many cards he got for Lyon. He had about 13 yellows when he was at Lyon. So he hasn't changed his approach to his game. Nothing's changed. He's only had, 7 cards this year, 8 cards this year?
But it's interesting. The cards are not for one season either, are they? They're not. Okay. I don't think they're for one season either.
How many yellow cards? Let me have a look. Let me go.
4 yellow cards are doing him for. And they're not all from this
4
season.
cards that they're charging him on. Hang on. Let me just. Lucas Paqueta. Can't be bothered to type. Picasso? You're having a laugh.
He is a bit of an artist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't just this season. It was over a couple of seasons.
Right, hang on. Let me have a look at his transfer marks. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? That's the thing. There he is. Transfer mark. Right. The Wikipedia page isn't always accurate. So this season he's had 10 yellow cards in all competitions.
Yeah, so it's strange they pick up 4 out of the 10 because
no. That's one season. So they picked out 3 from that season, haven't they?
Yeah.
This season just gone.
Yeah, and
one from the season before.
Yeah.
Which was where he went in for 2 bites of the cherry, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So the season before, he had. Hang on. God, here we go. Detailed performance. Go away, advert. Detailed performance data. So he's had. Oh, right. It's telling me where the cards came from now,
Mhm.
what games they were. But that's only this season. What about last season? Oh, they're not showing last season.
All right. But basically, he's
But
probably
basically, he's had enough yellow cards to, you know, for people to go, hang on a minute, this guy's getting loads of cards. I know this fella. He gets loads of cards. I'm going to fucking start betting on him.
So the only thing that doesn't sit in our conversation is two things. Is one, where the big, and this is the word, where the big bets on them others, we'll call them another 10, 12 cards, yeah? Was there big bets on them other 10 or 12 cards, or where the real big bets on the 4? You know what I mean? Because how much money are these people making that it's come to the point where...
Well, the stupid thing is they made the bets, or they opened up these accounts with Betway originally.
Right.
Because obviously, Betway being our sponsor, they thought, oh, well, we'll get decent odds on them or whatever. And then they get an influx of loads of people from an area in Brazil for accounts. And, you know, they've only got an handful of accounts in Brazil up until that point. And I mean, literally 4 or 5 customers in Brazil up until that point. And then about another 8 or 9 accounts opened up from one area.
If you
was very suspicious.
If you're in an English court of law, they call that circumstantial.
Yeah. Oh, actually, in the FA statement, which I think it was Anton that read it out, I was on with him the other day, early evening, and he said, I'm sure it was the FA had said, you know, that it was circumstantial evidence that they have against him, which in a court of law won't stand up. And they're saying that it's a criminal offence. So if it's circumstantial evidence in a criminal offence, then it won't stand in court. So charges will have to be dropped, or CPS won't take it up. If they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the evidence is incriminating before they can crucify him.
If they have got that, then he will never play football for anyone again. That's it. It's worse than Tony and Tonali.
Oh God, yeah, 10 times worse. I mean, but the thing is, you know, they have to prove it. You know, and by looking at the game in its entirety, they'll be able to tell you what kind of game he was having. By looking at the card in isolation, that's like VAR looking at something in slow motion first. It always looks worse. Always looks worse.
Yeah.
You know? So they need to look at, you know, at least 15 to 20 minutes leading up to that point to see what his game was like on that day, to see what kind of tenacity he was playing with. You know?
Well, he's always a bit full-blooded, isn't he?
And that's what I'm saying. They've got to look at his entire yellow card history to be able to make a judgment on it. They cannot pick out 4 really, really, well, they're saying it, they're obvious. I disagree. I think they're all dubious.
What will make it obvious to them if, as an argument's sake, there's 10 grand gone on one week and 5 grand gone on another, and then the following week there's 200,000 gone on. Yeah, because we don't know the depth of the bets or the depth of the payouts.
Yeah.
You know, but if there's a huge difference, because if you're throwing 10 grand on for say 2 or 3 weeks, that's 30 grand, isn't it? So to make your money back, you have to put a large bet on and to make some more, aren't you? And then you've got to go another few weeks. So it's very difficult to see how they can really say, or unless them 4 cards in isolation had $100 bet on them, or 200. Who knows what they bet? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then really, again, it's circumstantial, but it's pretty damning at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well, if you lost
I'm
10
not
grand,
sure.
if you lost 10 grand for 3 or 4 matches or 5 matches, say you lost 50 grand,
Yeah,
on a bet because you've got to put something on, something biggish, yeah, and then you say, right, it's this week, boys, yeah, and suddenly the bets have gone from 10 grand to 100 grand or 10 grand to 150 grand. That might be the thing that's making them think, hang on a minute, you know what I mean? Because people,
I mean, look, you've got to
bet.
look at it from this point of view as well, though, Mick.
Mhm.
Right now, speaking as my own person, I am right. I'm a bit of a villainous bugger, right? I don't mind a little bit of villainy. I'm all right with that, yeah. But if I'm in my profession and someone wants me to do something like for example, right, I used to do judo when I was younger, and I was I was Olympic.
Okay, gents, can you hear me?
Good evening, Jeff. Thank you.
We can hear you. Welcome back, my friend.
But if someone come to me and said, right, I want you to lose that fight because I've got 5 grand or 10 grand on it, I'd turn around and say, piss off, mate. You know, or we want you to give away points, or we want you to do this, or I'd go, mate, listen, I'm in there doing the fight or playing the game or whatever the case is. You can fuck right off. And I'm hoping that Lucas Paqueta would have done that if he was approached.
If I was playing devil's advocate a little bit to that, yeah, and this is like, it's not miles outside the box because it happens in the world. He's obviously got family in Brazil, right? So what happens if a cartel consortium, whatever the right word is, have come to him and said, listen, you had better do it. Yeah, which, that's Jeff trying to get back in.
Yeah, I know. You can still hear me though, can't you?
Yeah. I can still see you.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the corner. Look.
Well, you're in the corner. Sorry. They just put the better looking one on the better front of the screen.
All right, okay.
No, but you know what I mean? Saying there could be. I'm not trying to defend it either way, but you know what happened in South America with Diaz's dad being kidnapped. You know, why was he kidnapped?
Yeah, and the Colombian goalkeeper.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So the scorpion kick and all that.
These things are not necessarily way outside of the box, you know. So who knows? I'm not trying to defend him, but you can't sit and judge when you're not walking in the man's shoes. You don't really know what the full circumstances are around all of this, do we? We can speculate from some real rubbish that gets in the press, and then you have to kind of make your own mind up. What would the reasons be behind it? And that would be only I agree exactly what you said, by the way.
Yeah.
That could be a reason behind it, you know?
Because it could be. Yeah, I didn't think about the cartels and stuff in
you know
Brazil.
what I mean?
I just want to acknowledge that we got some more people in the chat.
Yeah, go on.
Helen, unfortunately, I can't put the comments on the screen, and unless look, I'm going to wave to the camera. Look, there I am there. Jeff's been playing around with the screen. And anyway, so Helen Ludlow is in the chat. Good evening to you, Helen.
Good evening,
Thank
Helen.
you. I'm going to miss out quite a lot of the comments, unfortunately, guys and girls, because there are other people in that I want to say hi to. Oh, hold up. Look, where is he going now?
Jeff's still playing with the screen. There he is. He's back.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Jeff?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can't see us, but we can hear
you, mate. We can hear you. Thumbs up if you can hear us.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, he can't hear us.
So let me sort of the audio.
Put us back on the screen proper. Oh, well, all right then. Yes, so Barry Clark's in the house. Good evening to you, Barry.
Good evening, Barry.
Thank you for joining us. Sorry he's late to the party, he says. Colin Jones is in the house. Good evening to you, Colin.
Good evening, Colin.
And Ian R. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Ian.
There are comments, and we will get to them, but I just wanted to acknowledge the new people in the chat.
We'll bang a few comments out there then.
All right, okay then. Right, well, let me go back up a little bit then. Let's go back to right. Okay, let's start here. Happy is saying the games that he's been charged for. Yeah, the games that he's been charged for: Leicester, November the 22nd; Villa, March the 23rd; Leeds, May the 23rd; and Bournemouth, August the 23rd. So there's a lot of 23rds in now. 23rd of the month. That's quite a strange coincidence, that.
What does Happy think? I can't see your comments, but Happy, what do you think about what I was saying about him being put under pressure by cartels and stuff like that? Do you think that's possible?
I'll get to that. They'll probably come up after these.
Oh, right, sorry.
So, a view from Keith, who's had dealings with the FA directly. He was a referee at lower level, but he was a FA qualified, classified, and verified referee. I like saying shit like that, just to embarrass him, really. The level of evidence required for an FA investigation is way lower than that of a criminal police investigation. As I am aware, the police are not involved at this stage and probably won't be. That's kind of insider knowledge come across with a bit of personal view,
So how does the betting company then seek to get justice, if you like?
Yeah, that's another good point. Happy is also saying it's all about probabilities. I don't think they have digital evidence of packs informing people of when to bet. Otherwise, it would be a done deal already. Look how quickly they charged others with evidence. So maybe, because calls can't be recorded, maybe they're accusing him of verbally informing people. That's the only way he could do it if it's not electronically, surely.
It's a long way to talk, to shout to someone in Brazil.
I know, yeah, but they can do that over the phone. And the phones aren't tapped or anything. They can't do that. Not without a warrant. Budgie, did you know Tony Vassallo, lifelong friend from school? Well, I do know who he is. He's a social media friend, and he comments on some of the stuff as well. Tony Vassallo. I'm sure that's Lee I'm thinking of. Lee Vassallo. Tony, hang on, you have to remind me who Tony is. Tony Vassallo. That name does ring a bell, though. Ian R says, I don't know whether he's guilty or not, boys, but if I had to stake my life on it, it would be for Pack to pick up a yellow, but that hasn't changed since game. Perhaps it's just how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I understand where you're coming from, Ian. I'd put a double on Alvarez and Paqueta to get bookings, says Happy.
Mm-hmm.
Evening, Helen. Thank you for hi. That's the years, Budgie. Yeah, I know. Oh, right. Fucking hell. 23. That's the year. Not the day of the month like I thought it was.
All right.
Thanks, Happy. No, Gwen, tell me off, didn't she?
Have you got me now?
We've got you now.
We've got you. Yeah, have you got us?
Yeah, I've got you now.
Right,
Oh, sorry
excellent.
about that.
That's
Oh, that
all
was a
right,
right
mate.
miss.
Don't worry, don't worry. Right, so Happy's now saying, Mick, I think that's grasping a bit, but who knows? He obviously hasn't had any money paid into his personal account.
Yeah.
So
But is his safety of his family guaranteed by it? That's all I'm saying. I'm not. It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
miles
I mean,
outside of
that is obviously a distinct possibility, but I would imagine that it's quite a low possibility. You would think that his family are protected, when he's a world superstar as far as the country are concerned. Keith says, hold up, it skipped. The FA are not the victims. The real victim is Betway.
Yeah.
So it is them who have to report it to the police as a crime.
That's what I was trying to say to you. Where is the justice for the betting companies? Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Have you been doing the chat, Budgie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing the chat, mate. Obviously, I can't put them on the screen, but
No,
we're right
that's
down
cool.
near the bottom, so you can scroll all the way down, Jeff.
I'll do that. Apologies to
All right,
everyone for the problems. I'll display your
It's
comments.
right. We know
quickly.
you're a dithering old git. Don't worry about that.
Right, well, I've missed half the conversation anyway, so you just carry on. I'll try and catch up with it.
The thing is,
and catch up with the
we
comments.
can now move on a little bit after we've done these last few comments. So,
Cool. I'll skip through them so everyone can get displayed.
Go right to the bottom.
Yeah, we've done all these, Jeff.
We've done loads of all of those.
All right. Good evening, all. By the way.
So Ian R is saying, would have been worse if it was the minutes, Budge. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
23 minutes. The 23 minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
The year of 23. Yeah. I'm just, I'm embarrassed now. Thanks, everybody. Cheers for that.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
There you go.
There.
Right. Judo for the UK Championship. Yeah, well, I actually was in my weight category, and in the under 18s, I was actually British champion. So,
were you?
Yeah.
Oh, fair play to you.
I fought at Crystal Palace in the big sports arena there, in front of about 8,000 people. And I was little known. I hadn't gone in for any championships or titles at that point, but I'd been doing judo for like 6 years in my local club, doing my gradings, but you do them at your club. And then managed to get my black belt when I was 15 and went in for this competition and won in my weight category, under 18s.
So under 18
stone? Yeah, but I was the youngest competitor in that competition.
What weight was you going in at?
I was going in at 48 kilos.
48 kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of bags of
I
cement.
started off at 41 kilos. When I first started doing it, I was 41 kilos. I was quite a slim and athletic kind of person.
You still are quick. Slim, athletic, good looking. What more can you be?
Well, yeah, I'm all of that. I'm all of that.
So, Jeff,
somebody asked me if I was related to Ray Winston the other day. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Oh, I had my West Ham top on. I was over the pub playing darts, and I was wearing the blue away kit from when we were in the Europa League, not the Conference League, the Europa League, the first time. And I was wearing that, and this guy come up to me and he's like, "You remind me of somebody." I was like, "Oh yeah, who's that?" He goes, "Well, Ray Winston." I was like, "Fuck off, mate. What's the matter with you? I don't resemble him at all." He's like, "Yeah, you do," because at the time I hadn't had a shave. I weren't beautifully trimmed like this, you see. Yeah, so he thought I was related to Ray Winston. It was hilarious.
So, Jeff,
Keith,
sorry. Go on.
Right, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just going to read out this comment. By law, betting companies must report any irregularities to the sports governing body, but it's optional if they report it to the police. Right. Okay. Keith, it's great having him in the chat because he's a world of knowledge. You know, I mean, like, for example, he would be able to tell you what the most valuable action man is. I'm telling you. Put it in the chat, Keith. Put it in the chat.
He's probably coming for you, judo man.
It won't be long before he puts it in there either, because he knows all these things.
So Jeff, we've had just a quick recap for you. We've had a chat about Lopetegui becoming new manager. Not too much of a chat on that, to be fair. Spoke about the strong possibility of Bruno. Fabrizio.
We haven't mentioned Lopetegui's predecessor either, and we're not going to. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah. We've talked about him joining, and everyone on the chat, and myself and Budgie feel it could be a good move. And then we've spent probably, I would think, a good half hour talking about Paqueta and the ordeal and we have barely touched on the financial troubles that could cause West Ham. And
yeah, I mean,
just to add to that,
money missing from the transfer fee.
But also it's again that article that I said I was reading. Yeah, the guy said that West Ham, if he gets a ban of a substantial period, then West Ham are in their rights to terminate his contract and then also sue him. But what do you sue him for? Because he's done us for 50 million minimum, hasn't he? Plus his wages. So, but yeah,
he's got to be sued for market value, surely.
But he's suing him. He won't have it.
It's a huge problem for West Ham.
He's got properties. He's got all sorts.
Has he? Well, I don't know, but yeah. Does it come to? He probably owes West Ham the best part of 100 million with his wages and everything else. So, yeah, if he's found guilty, yeah. But let's hope it doesn't.
Fuckers that have been betting on him.
Well, it's what's sad is that I think everyone sitting here probably thinks he is guilty. To be honest,
I honestly, hand on heart, I don't believe that he's actually played a part in it. I really don't. I think he's too professional for that to happen.
I hope he is, but
I mean, look at, like I said, you've got to also look at his yellow card history or his card history. It's long.
I was going to say that, but
it's long as the day's born. We mentioned this earlier, Jeff.
Did you speak about this already? Because I don't understand how you're going to analyse those four. For example, oh look, there was a betting spree. Look at that. That's a stupid yellow card. But they line it up to the next stupid yellow card that doesn't have the betting patterns on it, and it's like part of his personality and part of the way he plays.
Well, that's the problem. That you've just said it yourself. It's the betting patterns, Jeff. You could have small bets, and then on them four cards, there could be massive bets gone out that day. That's the problem.
I get it, but if you're gonna hold that up as an example and go, look at that behaviour there, he was getting a booking on purpose. Those betting patterns are there. That's why they're focusing on that. I get that, right? Yeah. But his personality is that he picks up them stupid bookings all of the time. So to get a proper comparison, you've got to compare all of them stupid bookings, haven't you? And then compare all the betting patterns, and then just say, is this a personality trait? Yeah, a flaw, because some of it's ridiculous what he does. Yeah. Or is there something behind it? And I think it's very hard to really come to a conclusion about that, isn't it?
That's what Budgie said earlier, exactly that.
Yeah. And
obviously I missed all of that bit of the conversation.
The other thing I did say,
some of us are professional and get you on time, so carry on, Budgie, mate.
The other thing that I mentioned, Jeff, is that you know, if half of Mexico started betting on Alvarez getting yellow cards, would Alvarez then be under investigation?
Well, he would, wouldn't he? If it was flagged up in the same way.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what I'm asking. You know, like Alvarez is just as susceptible to getting cards as Paqueta. I mean, we've lost them both on a really important game. I can't remember what game it was now.
The semi-finals and the quarterfinals. Yeah, we lost Alvarez for the quarterfinals of against Liverpool, and we lost him for the first leg of the semi-final of the Europa.
Right. Oh yeah, it was the Liverpool game. Yeah.
And the Europa League as well.
And but we lost Paqueta for that game as well, didn't we?
Yeah. What kind of stupid booking did he pick up there? Just ran over and fucking kicked the bloke in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know,
there's an example of just like
we lost Emerson as well in that same game. Remember?
Yeah. I think Emerson's was a little bit more unlucky, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
But still, digress. Sorry, carry on.
What are you munching on?
I'm not putting them other headphones away. I was really struggling with the headphones tonight.
I thought you had a box of celebrations or something. You weren't sure.
Yeah, nothing like that. No. But you've been here, Budgie. You know how sparse it is.
So we lose Paqueta. What sort of money we're going to have to bring a stronger midfield into the team with him gone?
The immediate fix for that is to move Kudos into his place, isn't it? Into the 10 role. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's the immediate fix. Because Bowen can cope with that right hand side very nicely, thank you.
Evening, Happy.
And, you know, we've got Cornet, if we can keep him fit. We've got Ben Rama coming back possibly on that left-hand side, if we choose to use him, if Lopetegui fancies him. There you go. Sorry, could you just go back to that one, please?
360 quid.
Was it
your action, man?
There you go. The most expensive one in my collection cost $360. Wow. There you have it. And to think, I think 14 of them, and on my 15th birthday, I sold a lot of them for 70 quid. 70 quid. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. So where was I at? Could you remind me? Sorry.
About the money to bring in people. I was talking about, and then.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we've got a couple of players potentially that can fill that left-hand side. So that's the immediate answer. But we are going to have to bring players in. Now, Oliver Scholes, sorry, not Ollie Scholes, George Earthy, he's beginning to look like he's ready to appear now and again. So, and because of his age, he hasn't got to be one of the 25 named squad either. So he's not going to be a permanent answer to the left-hand side, even though he can play there. We've got to buy somebody out there. We've got to. And without Paqueta's money, we're not going to get a Paqueta or anything of that caliber. And I think we've probably got somewhere in the region of 80 million at the moment in the war chest.
Jota Silva's hotly tipped for that sort of position, isn't he?
Who is?
That Jota Silva.
Yeah, that's another player. We haven't spoken about him yet. But yeah,
just talking about the position you're talking about.
Yeah, and so what are we going to get him for? Something like 18 to 25 or somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that Happy Emirates comments up there. I don't think anyone would come to the club regardless of whether he's playing or not playing. To be fair, if you're signing, you're coming in to play. So I don't think anyone come in as his actual replacement. I think we need to build the squad. I think we're down to 16. We're going to have 16 players by the time all the players leave at the end of
Yeah.
June, is it, when their contracts run out?
Yeah,
So,
and we've extended Creswell for another year.
yeah. So I think we have 17 players currently we'll have.
I think we're trying to see if we can break him like we have done with Kurt Zuma.
Who's that? Creswell?
Yeah. Yeah, poor sod. I mean, come on, he's due to, like, hang up his boots, isn't he?
I think
he's been a great servant to the club.
I think he's got another season in him for FA Cups and stuff like that. Because again,
do you think so, though? I mean, look,
I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it. Listen, we've got
look, I'm not against it.
Rebuild, right? And we've got a reinforce in so many areas, and we need to spend money in so many areas. That's a left back we don't have to buy now. And he's just doing a covering job. He's just backing up. There's Ollie Skulls in the background. The odd cup game, bit of cover for injury or suspension.
Yeah. And there's no...
Been around the club a long time. So. I've got no real problem.
In his 10 years, he's probably got 2 handfuls of games in 10 years where you say... not let us down.
And also, you know, I mean,
and
in that 10 years, he's become...
And now you spend it on a centre-back or wherever, right? You get Bruno because you didn't buy a left-back and he's a bonus signing. I'll have that all day long, thanks.
But you've also, I've said this before, probably too many times now on the show, but, you know, you said earlier, Mavropanos and this Bruno as a centre-back. So if that's the case, then for me, you've still got Nagard to go in at left-back. I think he'll make a super left-back, so...
Hope your old man's all right, by the way, Barry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good wishes to him. You know, I think we've got so many areas of the pitch that we need to reinforce in. You know,
I'll come back to that, Keith.
And one of the most important places we have to reinforce or even replace is strikers. We've no strikers. Yes, we've got Mikel Antonio, but we all know that Mikel Antonio has got his limitations. 35, 40 minutes a game, and he's blowing like a steam train. So we need strikers that are quick on their feet. You know, the likes of George Earthy, he would be a perfect backup for us. Look what he did in the game when he came on and scored straight away. You know, that's the kind of energy and the kind of tenacity that we need in the team and the youth as well. We need that. It kind of invigorates the other players around them. You know, you probably know that better than I do, Mick. You're a coach. You're a manager. You know, you know that the young kid coming in can sometimes invigorate the team, or it could, if they're not good, they can put everybody's nose out of joint, and you don't see much of them. But, you know, I think we need to sign at least one striker, if not 2. You know.
Yeah. Just there on Bazza. Yeah, we do hope your dad's well, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, really. For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and strikers come at a premium, as you know. So, you know, we're not gonna get the sort of luck we've had with Soufal or Dawson. We're not going to get a 2, 3, 4, 5 million pound striker that is going to be banging in 20 goals a season. We're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. You know, not unless we get someone like Callum Wilson for that sort of money.
Oh, don't even go there with him. You must be joking.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. He's the only kind of player we're going to get for that kind of money.
If Callum Wilson puts on a West Ham shirt next season, I know I'll watch again. Yeah.
We don't really need a 20-goal a season striker, right? We just like one, right?
Well, a 20-goal involvement striker.
Right.
Well, we've already got one. Hold on, guys. We've already got one. Bowen's got one. Yeah.
If we get someone who contributes 12, 15 goals a season, and Bowen contributes 12, 15 goals a season and
Total Cubas.
contributes 12, 15 goals a season, all of a sudden we're 40 plus goals out of the front three there, and you're not relying on one guy to get all of your goals. So I don't think it's such a bad thing to have three players that are all going to contribute a good amount of goals, all going to probably supply goals to each other. Yeah, I'm sort of happy with that.
Yeah, we don't need Callum Wilsons in our team. That's for sure. He spends more time on the sidelines than he does playing. Anyway, gents, as always, I'm afraid early start in the morning at the moment. Yeah, so I'm going to bid you all and farewell, and all those who've listened in and made comments. Thank you very much, and
no problem. Thanks, Mick. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for holding
I'll bring you back to the better host. He's back in the frame. Yeah.
Don't know about that.
Yeah. Take care, guys. All the best.
See you later, Mick. Take care.
Cheers, Mick. Thanks, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye. Take care. And then there were two.
Yeah. So yeah, we have to just pick me up where the conversation's at, and
well, yeah, we like Mick said.
There was a question in the chat. Couple of questions from Keith in the chat that I starred actually. If I go back to
go.
I don't know if you've covered them points or not, but let's see. Let's get.
Is it the points on the legality of Paqueta's position?
Yeah, this one. He's saying that
we
know the
did
police are
cover
not
that.
involved. Yeah, because the police investigation would trump FA investigation. Obviously, that's true. And then West Ham could sue Paqueta if he gets banned to recoup losses on transfer fee, etc. And thoughts on that? I don't know if you touched on that or not.
We did, but what are your thoughts on it, Jeff? Because I said sue him for his market value.
I think it gets very messy. I don't know if the club
never
go down that route. Yeah, I don't know if the club go down that route. I think it gets very messy, but it's a choice for them. And if they've got a chance to get some tens of millions back, then maybe they would. I don't know, but I think that's a really complicated thing to enter into. And,
I mean, this is unprecedented, isn't it? This has never happened before.
And we're all speculating, obviously, that he's going to get banned, and he's going to get banned for a really, really significant amount of time, career-ending, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, he'll never kick a football for West Ham again. That's for sure.
Obviously, a bit of conversation that was going on.
Having a bit of banter in the chat. Nonto. He's 20 on the left
quite
wing.
like Nonto, the Leeds player.
Yeah, and a lot of the Leeds fans are frustrated with him, though.
They are. I don't know what kind of money he would be, but if he's under 20 million
25 to 30 million, I reckon.
Is he?
I reckon so.
Yeah.
Like she said, he's not a world beater. He ain't pulling up that many trees, but he's a decent player. And under the right coach, he would become a very good player.
And Happy saying that she wants to see Nesri coming in, played the best he has under Loppy previously, and he's cheap for a striker. And there's quite strong links at the moment about Nesri perhaps actually coming this time rather than.
And to be fair, some of the media that have been reporting it and stuff have stated how much he liked working under Lopetegui. So there's a good chance that if he is a pro by West Ham, there's a good chance that he might be interested, and he is a good striker. He's a 15 goal a season striker every season, mate. That bloke. He's a bit of a monster.
I'll just go on to Keith's point here. He was obviously referring to the Paquette thing, and he's saying his thoughts are that if he's guilty, then that's gross misconduct, and he's cheated the club and the fans. The 85 million is lost due to his misconduct. Well, I mean, Keith definitely knows a lot more about the law than I do, so I don't know how that stacks up legally. Yeah, gross misconduct, fine. So they can cancel his contract, don't they? So they don't have to go wages and one thing or another. And then obviously there's the investment, but I don't know if they'd be due 85 million.
No, that's our sell-on clause. That's our
absolutely. So
that's what we value him at.
Yeah, I'd imagine our best case scenario is, somewhere around the signing fee. I would guess if we're going to go down that route. But again, Keith, you may be much more well informed than I am. That's just sort of my
just to help you with that. Just to help you with that, Jeff. One of Keith's earlier comments was that the FA are legally obliged to. The betting companies are legally obliged to inform the FA of any irregularities, but it's their choice as to whether they want to approach the police with it, and come up with legal, proceedings. So basically, the FA are really a law unto themselves, and as long as they stay within the laws of the land, as it were. So the FA can more or less proceed without a legal case.
Yeah, I guess if they came across any really sort of damning criminal evidence, they might have some kind of obligation to then pass that over to the police. So presumably whatever their investigations are uncovered and whatever evidence they have hasn't reached a criminal threshold. But again, Keith might be able to...
because most of it's circumstantial, Jeff.
Yeah, might be able to straighten us out on that. I'm not professing to be any kind of legal expert at all.
No.
Just my understanding. And yeah, obviously we're just saying about if we were to go down the suing route, it'd be...
Yeah, horrible. It would be horrible. Garassi,
and Ian's
another player.
Yeah, he's another
15
one.
million. See, that's more in sort of line with what my thinking would be as well. Really, around 15 million.
His release clause was 17 million, but that might be euros. So
yeah,
I mean, not quibbling about.
But under 20 million for a decent striker that's has a go every time he pulls that shirt on. You couldn't ask for more. And that's the sort of player that Lopetegui will actually develop, And
Leslie's saying, injuries are a bit of a worry with him, though, aren't they? But we love an injury-prone player, don't we? So maybe we'll fit him as well.
And I think there's also been some question to his temperament recently as well.
Smith Rose?
Oh no, wrong player.
No,
sorry.
Okay.
Wrong player. Gibbs White was the one I was thinking of.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently,
I keep saying. Obviously, I think he's still referring to Paquette here, and he thinks West Ham should back him 100% and fight his corner with him.
Absolutely.
I think, to be fair, I think nothing other than that, at least at this stage, is happening, are they? He's fighting his corner. I think the club are backing him.
Yeah,
FA have made their move. We'll see what the outcome of the hearing is.
Yeah,
he's got to respond by a couple of weeks' time, hasn't he?
We'll soon know whether he's backed or not when they release the press release for this year's kit. Because if he's not wearing it, then they're not backing
thanks
him.
for joining.
Yeah, hey, good evening, sir. Yeah, if he's not one of the models of the kit, they're not backing him. I'll guarantee. Because he's the poster boy. Him, Kudus, and Bowen. There's 3 poster boys in the club.
Yeah,
really, to be fair.
Panos, probably a bit of a poster boy as well.
Well, yeah, for the girls, definitely. You know. But
Helen says, I would love to have one season where we don't have any controversy within it.
yeah,
Jesus Christ, we only announced our manager on the same day the controversy hit. So I don't think we've got much hope of that.
yeah. And then there's been controversy about the appointment of the manager, and people saying it was done in January and David Moyes knew it, and well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, mate. It'd be better going to Notts Forest, I reckon, because they've got a great reputation for legality.
Rule breaking.
Oh, sorry, yeah, rule breaking. I thought it was. Yeah. Jonathan Davies, a player we've been looking at over the last 3 or 4 seasons now. He's the young Canadian lad. He's probably about 23 now. But very good. Spent a bit of time in the MLS, I believe. But now I think he's in Italy or Spain, one or the other. Yeah, he's a decent striker. I'd still prefer to go with the other mushy we were talking about, though, Garassi. I'd still prefer to go with Garassi, if I'm honest. But
We've got to be careful how we spend the money, haven't we? So
yeah,
I don't know how strong they are, but we've got kind of links with like a Kilman type signing. So 45 million there, right? With I don't know if you've discussed the budget too much earlier on this evening, but
well, no, not really. We kind of flitted over it. I said I thought we would probably have somewhere around 80 to 90 million to play with. Maybe
yeah,
70.
so we've kind of, it's sort of advertised around 100 sort of million mark, give or take, is where we're going to be at. I think it's sort of widely accepted at the moment.
But
I think
Tim
it could go a
is
little bit
good
further,
with money.
Well, he
Tim's
is.
very good.
For me, it's a time where I think Tim's been really welcomed into the club. He's become a bit of a cult hero. I think he's received a lot of credit for a lot of things, and I don't know, and I'm not saying he's not due the credit, but I don't know if he's due all of the credit that's been piled upon him thus far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's understandable.
But this is the time where he's going to have to prove himself, really prove himself now.
Yeah, of course, that's it, exactly. And he's got his feet under the finding table. His feet over the last year.
He's got his feet under the table. He's got his team around him. He's had time for, to do all his data analysis, identify targets, and this summer, I think it's going to be a real test for him. We'll see how good he is, and I hope he really is as good as everyone says he is. But if he's gone out to Brazil and got this Brazilian guy, picked him up for 10 million quid, and he turns out to be a success, I mean, that would be a good start, wouldn't it? If he can pick up a few more gems, good value around the leagues, because we need a few. He would have really proved himself. But I think this is a real test for him this summer. The whole club, really. Lopetegui as well.
It's going to be a big test for everybody, including those of us that buy tickets and go and appear every other week, It's going to be a big test for us as well, because we've got to have some confidence, and we've got to, give the manager a time to get his feet under. The coach time to get his feet under the table. We're moving into a completely new era now. This is what Gianfranco Zola tried to do with us when he came in. He wanted to be just a coach. He didn't want to deal with, the transfers and all that. There's a great message. The next one's a great message. Listen, we're moving into a new era with a head coach, director of football, sporting director as well. It's a wonderful new era. Let's see how it goes. We got to be patient. Those of us that buy
I
our
don't know if
tickets,
it's a wonderful new era, but
it is going to be a wonderful new era because it's the end of a some great memories, right? But some bad feeling. That bad feeling's gone.
the club's been moulded to the structure for this now for a while, hasn't it? It's kind of ready, and now they've got
I watched that Iron Cast
in the structure or the pyramid how they want it. So now we'll see how it works, and hopefully you're right. Hopefully it is wonderful here, but it remains to be seen.
I watched that Iron Cast season review earlier. It was only released today. I watched the video version of it on YouTube, and both the guys were kind of they Ginge and that Chris. They seem to be lifted by the new era that's dawning on West Ham. Obviously very proud of the years that we've just had. Very proud of it, but looking forward to a new era. Take Eddie Nketiah. Not on your life, Anthony.
Come to wind you up.
Get back on your tractor and go and teach him how to, I don't know, farm chickens or something. We are not having bloody Eddie Nketiah. Oh, look, Rose is in the house as well. You'll get to her comment in a minute.
Leslie's right here. It's just the sad thing for him is if he's guilty, concentrated on bookings more than playing for the team. And that is it's a bit bad taste for everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So obviously Ellen's saying, wonder if Julian is having second thoughts about being at West Ham with all the Paqueta stuff going on.
Probably
you do wonder,
thinking, flipping hell, give me a chance to get in the fucking door. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's honestly, that must feel like having an over anxious dog with issues, of like when you go out, what they call it, anxiety.
But in all seriousness, I thought it's going to be an interesting dynamic how things work out with Lopetegui and Sullivan and the way the club's sort of run in the first place. And he's just in the door, and now there's quite a sticking point put in there, a bit of a tester. So it will be interesting to see how the summer pans out and how happy the ship is going into the start of the season. And hopefully we ride it all out. Get us available. Maybe it can't be sold. Maybe it can be sold. Maybe he's stuck with us, and we have to make the most of it. All of us.
Yeah, maybe all of his suitors, Man City and anyone else. Maybe his suitors will back off now. Nobody's going to be putting an offer in for him while this is hanging on his head. And who knows? If he, by the time the 3rd of June comes, and he says, I ain't having that. I'm not guilty. I ain't having it. Then the investigation has to go on. He may be available at the beginning of the season. You never know.
Maybe. I don't know how if they impose a ban and he appeals, if he's still banned whilst under appeal or anything. And I guess that's something that we'll discover as time goes by. But certainly available until they come to any kind of verdict. So we'll see. I don't really know what the timescale is going to be. Ian's saying these signings at 10 million-ish are not even really a gamble these days. As obscene as it sounds, 10 million is nothing for a player now. And he's right. It does sound obscene, and he's also right that it is really absolutely nothing for a player these days.
Yeah, it's peanuts, but you know, we have to live by our means these days. You know, with all this FFP and stuff. So, good evening, Rosie. Thank you for joining us, sweetheart.
Thank
Lovely
you,
to see
Rosie.
you.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for dropping a like in. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And thanks for
Thank
that,
you,
Helen.
Helen. Yeah, take Nketiah 25p, and if he don't score in 5 games, Arsenal give you 20p back. Oh,
and
great.
Rosie just wishing well to the chat.
Yeah.
So we covered everything then. You covered Bruno. I heard you were chatting about him before I.
Yeah, we didn't really go into him. I mean, well, we did. I mean, I said that I felt that from what I've read about him and what I've seen on YouTube, he looks like a very useful centre back. He's a unit. He's an absolute unit at 6 foot plus. You know, 6'3" or 5 or 7. It's an odd number. He's a massive fella, and you know, like I said, he works hard. He's got a good character about him. He does a lot of charitable work, I'm led to believe. You know, kind of reading between. He does like football workshops for underprivileged kids and stuff like that. So reading between the lines, I wouldn't think he gets paid for that. Not from a Brazilian club, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's all very noble. I'm pleased for him. It's
but
great.
He's a damn good player, though, Jeff.
But I'm worried about his football. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, but he is a good player.
I don't want to fundraiser.
Have a look at the reels on YouTube. You know, they show you what he's capable of.
I don't know loads about him. I've sort of heard different things. So I've heard he's like in a Dawson sort of mould, throws himself in front of everything, pretty straightforward defender. Like say, big lump, which is fine, something we can do with. And I've also heard he can play. I've heard he's slow. I've heard he's quick. So there seems to be quite a lot of conflicting stuff out there. So I think I'm on the let's wait and see what he brings when he gets here.
Yeah. Yep, I understand that fully.
Yeah, so Leslie said, I did read about this as well. It says, looks like West Ham are going to back far in the vote. Why? He believes a vote against will force necessary change. I don't know. We can all have opinions on it, I guess, is the answer to that.
I think.
But we can't speak for the club, so
I think
no idea.
If the clubs physically get involved in the argument for and against, then hopefully it will give them a voice in the implementation of it, if you understand what I mean. Right, so for argument's sake,
I don't know if that's what the choice is, though. The choice is bring the motion to ban, get rid of VAR, or vote to keep it. So
yeah, but if they keep it, they're gonna want changes because it's no good as it is at the moment.
I don't know if that's a caveat, though, is it? To say keep it. I think it's like Wolves have
maybe they've agreed to vote yes to keep it, providing there are changes to it.
Have they?
No, I'm saying that there's a chance that they could have said, all right, we'll give you a yes vote, keep it, but there has to be changes. Otherwise, we're going to withdraw our vote.
We're just speculating now, aren't we? We're just like saying
Well,
this
yeah,
could be
I am.
could
I
be
love
that.
speculation.
Yeah, no, I get that, but what I mean is, I've no evidence of we'll give you this vote, but we're looking for this change or that change. So I don't know if that's a thing or not. But as I understand it, it's a vote for, do you want to get rid of VAR or do you want to keep VAR? So the club have said their stance seemingly is going to be to vote to keep VAR.
Well, I don't support them in that.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think as fans, and especially match attending fans, perhaps more than most, but I think fans, regardless, pretty fed up with VAR in the main, and I actually think it's not such a bad thing if it's implemented in the right way, and I just think it's really not implemented very well.
Sometimes though, Jeff, you've been in the stadium, you've been to games, and I'm pretty sure that there's been games where you thought, oh, great, the final whistle, I can go. You know what I mean? You must have been to games like that. I have. I know that much. And when that final whistle is being dragged out by 20, 25 minutes of VAR decisions throughout the game, it kind of, especially when your team ain't playing well, you're getting hammered, I don't know, 5-0 by Crystal Palace or something. You want to get out as soon as that final whistle's gone. You don't want, do you know what I mean? Maybe you want to give the team a bit of applause first, but what you don't want to be doing is sitting around thinking about the 5-0 loss you've just taken. And
I think the problem is
adding time to the day isn't always convenient when you're travelling either.
It's not, but you look at some of these decisions, an offside that comes up, and you get the freeze frame, you look at it, you go, he's offside. And it takes them 3 minutes to draw the lines and come up to the decision that you can see. That's part of the problem, and that's part of why you've got 10 minutes. Where you
say he's level. And they go, no, look, his fingernails
a little bit longer on a tight one is okay, but the straightforward decisions should be straightforward, shouldn't they? Why are they overcomplicating it?
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem.
I think
overextending all the time.
There should be a time limit of a minute before an announcement, something like that. I think that there should be ex-players or coaches or whatever in there with the people at Stockley Park so that they can give them a player's perspective on it. Not necessarily to make the decisions, but just to give them a player's perspective, which is important, by the way, So, there are a lot of changes that would make it a much more efficient system.
I don't think adding more people into the mix makes it more efficient, personally.
Or replace one with a ex-player then.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I am an advocate of that or not. I think the officiating should be done by officials.
But the officials
I don't know
have been known to be wrong.
Well, I have been known to be wrong, but I mean, we sit in the match of the day studio every week, and they've got 3 pundits or coaches sat in there, and they can't all agree. And then you're going to put one of them in there, and their word is ahead of who? Like the trouble is, we all sit around a table having a pint after a game, and we might all agree or view a certain thing one way or another way and say there was a right or
what
wrong
you're saying
decision.
then, Jeff, is that full automation is the way to go.
No, I'm not really saying that, but I'm saying you say, well, sometimes officials are wrong. Yeah. Sometimes Alan Shearer's wrong, and sometimes Gary Lineker is wrong, and sometimes we're wrong. we all see it in different lights. So, I mean, I don't see that, oh, yeah, sometimes officials get it wrong as an argument to say, yeah, this coach will get it right all the time. Or this
Do you know, I
ex-player
haven't
will
actually
get it
watched
right
Match
all
of
the
the Day
time.
in 5 years.
No, but I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah,
But
I
do you know
get
what
you.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get just consistent, cold decisions, then you said it really. It's got to be fully automated then.
Mm.
And then
It's all or nothing, really, isn't it?
no
Do you know what I mean?
human factor in there. No different, like, you know.
Well, I mean, look, you look at the goal line technology. That's been implemented and improved upon, and now we rely on it. As fans, we rely on it because
I
we
don't know if I
know.
really rely on goal line technology.
Okay,
but I do think
put
it's
it
a
this
really
way.
good addition.
All right, okay,
Let's put it
right.
that way.
Maybe rely on it is the wrong word. We have faith in it.
Yeah.
We have faith in it. That's probably a more accurate description.
I think it's only failed once or twice, hasn't it? The goal line technology.
Yeah.
Maybe, so you're right. Yeah, we accept it as good, solid technology. We accept.
So if they can do that on a goal line, then surely there must be a way of doing that across the full length of the pitch.
Well, they seemed to do it all right in the World Cup, didn't they?
Exactly.
So, I
mean, they're talking about semi-automation, like 4 offsides. Well, that's okay, but you know, where does the semi bit come in? I mean, where does the human element come into it then?
You're getting too technical for me there, Budgie. I don't know the answer to that.
All right. Okay, mate.
But let's move it back to West Ham. And Keith saying is actually quite excited about this new chapter. And it won't be another 43 years until West Ham's next trophy. Good times ahead. I hope you're right, Keith. But I kind of echo it. I'm refraining from using the word excited about it, but I'm really interested about where the club's going. It's a great opportunity. This dismantled aging squad is not a great thing for West Ham, really, to be in a position where we've got to build from where we are now. But in another way, with a fresh coach coming in, with opportunity to add players that he wants, perhaps integrate some of the youngsters, bring in his playing style. It's a great opportunity as well. And we've got the basis of some really good players at the club as well. So if we add a bit more quality around those, everyone gels, comes together.
I mean, there are going to be players
linked with us. Exciting times.
There are going to be players linked with us, you know, every day. But what I'm kind of what I'm excited to see is for us to see the club have signed X, this player, right? And we're all going, who the heck's this? I don't know. This is not a big name. And then for him to be your next Paqueta or your next Kudus or your next Bowen or whatever. But, you know, like, because that's the kind of players that Tim Steiden goes out to identify. And we're not talking about players
for the of Kuduses and Paquetas.
No, of course not. Of course not.
You know, of course,
I mean, it could be the next Mark Noble or the next, you know, Dean Ashton or something.
The next Dawson will do right now.
Yeah. Well, I think with that Bruno, I think we've just signed one.
In all seriousness, if we had a Dawson type centre back, that makes a difference to us already, massive. So
of course it does. And by some of the accounts that I've read and heard, that Bruno seems to be a very solid defender, very solid centre back, and you couldn't ask for anything more. That's what Craig Dawson was. He was very solid for us.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he wasn't special in technique or flair or anything like that. He was just damn good at what his job was, his job description. You know, he done exactly what it says on the tin, and that's what Bruno does. He quietly goes about his business. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he becomes a fan favourite. Not at all.
Just on this point from Keith, I actually agree. I think one of the things that's missing from VAR, transparency, and some explanation around some of the decisions is I think the refs should be mic'd up. And on the stadium channel, much like the rugby referees, I think it keeps fans informed and engaged.
Cricket umpires.
I just think there's so many arguments for that to happen.
Yeah.
And Keith here saying, obviously, the PGMOL have said that they won't mic up the refs on the stadium channel for VAR decisions, and that needs to change. What are they hiding? And yeah, I don't even know if they're hiding anything. I think what they're hiding is how shambolic they are. If we look at a couple of recordings that have been given out, shows how unprofessional they really are. So I think,
absolutely.
I don't know if they're hiding anything in a corruption sense as hiding their incompetence. I don't think it's quite the same thing, but yeah, no, I think it's a step that needs to be made, and I think it's a natural transition, and it happens in so many other sports. And yeah, the crowd keeps informed. There's an explanation or decision being made. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Don't know why they would oppose it so much. Happy said, I wonder if Gratinsky is thinking of selling his shares. What with all the Royal Mail stuff going on, and that to the Golds, we could have a decent share percentage available. Yeah. She's right there, though.
I was talking to a mate of mine who's worked for the Royal Mail for 31 years.
Yeah.
Right? And he said he thinks his job might be in jeopardy. And he works at one of the biggest mail sorting centres in the area, right by Gatwick.
It always happens, doesn't it, when there's takeovers, people's jobs are in jeopardy, unfortunately. I think it's just a nature of the beast.
This time round, he absolutely believes that there's going to be a mass culling and like full automation and all that sort of shit coming in.
But I don't know how a sale like that would be. I mean, Brady's been round punting around trying to find an investor out in the Middle East and whatnot, and has come up empty-handed.
Yeah, but would you trust her to come and sell you a newspaper?
Well, the thing is, that's kind of what she does, isn't it? That's how she got her big bonus last time, finding investment for the football club. So kind of what she does, scratching around with them kind of people. She's come out empty-handed. I don't think the offer's that attractive, but he was reportedly at least considering reducing his percentage to 25%, which is not the same as selling all of his shares, is it? But
but that was so that they could amass another 25%.
Yeah, but what Happy's saying is if he was to sell all of his shares and then someone was also to purchase the gold shares, they would end up with like a controlling stake, wouldn't they?
Well, what the club were proposing, what Karen Brady was proposing, is that 25% of the club is up for grabs.
I get that. But Happy's saying if he was to sell his 27.7% and the same investor were to buy the gold shares.
And that would be a controlling share. Yes.
That'd be a controlling stake. That's how I read Happy's comment there. But please correct me if I'm wrong, Happy, if I've misinterpreted. But that would be like what those 15% of the golds is up, isn't it? So that would give them like 42, whatever.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah. And David Gold's got what, 32,
38,
34%?
is it?
Oh, is it
38?
38?
I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure
David
the chat
Sullivan,
will correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, probably. I usually am. Yeah, he's a funny bugger.
So yeah, it's saying he wants real VAR trained assistants, not the referees who failed to do their job in the first place.
Well, that's
Another
like a
reason for us
3-year.
having it.
That's a 3-year wait for the proper people to be coming in then, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've got to be qualified referees to become a trained VAR assistant, haven't they?
I believe so. Yeah.
What I'm saying
because
is,
they're the ones that are going
we're
out
asking
to Saudi
these
Arabia
people,
to.
these trained assistants, to be the guardians of the decisions in our game and correct refereeing decisions. Then they need to be qualified referees, don't they? So really, it's just a cycle of having
with the highest
different
qualifications,
qualified trained assistants that are referees, isn't it? I don't think we can get away with the fact that they need to be referees. So keep saying, yeah, that's absolutely mate. Bell was introduced to remedy cock-ups by the very same refs who are now in the screen room. But Keith has a point there, doesn't he? Because we do have the referee.
That's the fact.
They're on the. They do both, don't they? So they referee on the grass, and then they referee in the video room on other games. So
these are the ones that are going to Saudi Arabia and places like that to do the refereeing.
And we've got the manager merry-go-round. I was guessing away we've got the referee merry-go-round from pitch to Stockley Park and, whatever duties they happen to be on from one week to the next. I don't know what the solution is. We all know what the problem is, but I don't think it's so easy to get a solution. Sort of genie's out of the box. So Leslie's saying he wants a time set to make a decision. If they cannot make judgment in time, then stay with the rest.
That's what I'm saying. VAR should be given a minute to come to a decision. If they can't do it in a minute, the referee goes, right, okay, I gave a penalty, it's a penalty.
I think there could be an argument for that, but I don't know, he sort of introduced that stopwatch effect. I don't know if it works in every situation.
And that's what I'm saying. It adds to the day in the stadium. Like the people that run the stadium, all the security and the stewards and that, they're all delayed getting off. So extra hours. For all the employers, all the little burger stalls.
I don't know if that's an improvement. I don't know if that's improved. I feel like it's like turn it into a game show or have a stop clock and all that. I don't know how much I like that. But hey, we've all got personal. It doesn't mean it's a right or a wrong answer, does it? It's just what everyone's personal idea is.
You're all entitled to your opinions. If it don't match mine, you're wrong. Simple.
Yeah. Well, some people are genuinely like that, isn't they? So. Trying to catch up with the chat a bit.
Yeah. What word was that then?
I don't know. I skipped through a few. There's emojis and all sorts.
I'll go up there and have a look.
Yeah. Oh. So he's saying on offside, I heard that Wenger is advocating a clear air gap between forward and defender. I think that's a great idea. quicker and easier to distinguish. Kind of had a similar thing there once before, didn't it? In the days before VAR. But yeah, I don't really like this toenail on, toenail off, draw the line to his armpit. How precise are we, aren't we? So I think that kind of needs to change.
Even half a foot is still not offside, in my opinion. You know, like half of a player's like foot. Yeah, it's got to be his body that's offside, not his foot. You know, or his hand, or you know, his hair because he's got a ponytail. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. The word that they were talking about was Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United will all say yes to keep it.
I did see that comment. Yeah. Well, have you seen Nesri's goal celebration? I can't say I have.
No.
It's like a mix of Ali and Sons. I'll have to look it up now.
Yeah.
Keep saying the problem with pundits is that Lineker, Shearer, etc. are not qualified referees, so their opinion is just that. Doesn't make them authority. And I totally agree with that. And I think look, we're in exactly the same category as fans. We all sit here, you know, in our living rooms, in the pub, on our YouTube channels. We're just giving our opinion.
Yeah, we're all armchair refs or armchair managers.
Yeah, and unless you're Keith, you're not a referee, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, people like Keith are referee. They're a little bit more qualified to make those calls. But we all got our opinions on it.
Yeah.
Happy saying, I would much rather go back to the old ways. Ref makes a decision on the pitch, and that's that. You win some, you lose some. At least it's instant. Pisses me right off with all this VAR bollocks. I have to say,
I absolutely agree with every word of that.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. We end up moaning about referees and VAR every Saturday, as it is, right? Analysing it all, talking about it.
Yeah.
We used to just talk about the refereeing mistakes. We might as well just go back to talk about the refereeing mistakes. And like Happy says, you win some, you lose some. It's instant.
And, you know, I mean, look, we've
had 3 minutes
we've had one or two close calls with VAR in as much as we've had the benefit of the doubt. That one with Soucek's goal when Bowen kept it from going over the line, or did he? And passed back to Soucek to score. That was against Arsenal, I believe. And
I thought you were talking about his dive where he saved it.
No. But yeah, we've had a stroke of luck with that, because I actually believe that the ball's out, if I'm honest. But yeah, but we've had terrible ones, like the Calvin Phillips one at Newcastle. That was a disgusting decision. That should never have been a penalty.
I actually think one of the worst games for VAR decisions this season was Sheffield United. And I think it was on a couple of levels, because McBurney elbows Areola in the face and he gets awarded a penalty for that.
Yeah.
And VAR uphold that. And that in of itself, I think,
didn't we have to bring Fabianski on for that penalty?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that in of itself, right, is atrocious. And then after that, Bowen is wrestled to the ground, and the same VAR box doesn't award a penalty. And I think that's the worst doing over by VAR for us this season. And I think we've had some incidents we can be mad about, but in one game, that's the worst for me. I don't know if you heard all that, Budgie. You froze up there. You still there, mate? Are you there, Budgie?
Yeah, I am, mate. I don't know whether it's my Wi-Fi or yours or what. I don't know.
Well, you froze up. So I'm hoping it's yours.
Both. Yeah, you did for me. So.
Oh right, it could be me.
It could be me though.
Let us know. Yeah.
Oh dear. Arsenal having an emergency meeting. Number 64 million. They have more emergency meetings than the SAS and Cobra. Oh dear. We talk about
jumped
more
a few comments there.
Yeah, that's right. We talk about more contentious decisions on a Monday morning now with VAR than we ever did without it. It has failed at ironing out the mistakes that it was brought in for. Exactly that. And it's kind of highlighted even bigger mistakes. You know, because
I agree with that totally.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, like you said earlier, you know, when it's obvious offside and they're taking time over it, and they're not giving it as an offside, for example. I mean, you just think to yourself, how they come into the other decisions that they're making? You know, how is it that VAR didn't intervene and what's his name? You know, called a ref back on that McBurney thing. Say, look, you know, we've had a look at it. He's cracked him in the face with an elbow, mate. Don't let.
They had a look at it and they held the penalty decision. So, I mean, I just find it crazy. There we are. Anyway, I found my spot where I was, so I'll go back and work my way through the comments.
All right. I disappeared again then as well, I think. Or maybe you did.
I think you're all right. Steve says he agrees. He was happy in favour of the out first, but now he's furious with it. It isn't working. It's ruining the game for clubs and fans. And I have to say, I echo that sentiment completely. It's spot on for me. I was in favour of the at first. I think it's been badly used and implemented. It is ruining the game.
Yeah.
It wouldn't bother me if they got rid of it tomorrow, but I don't think they will. But they desperately need to do something to make it work better.
Yeah. Can I ask Keith a question on that comment where he said that at first he was kind of, you know, quite happy about it and stuff? Is it because you felt that by implementing it, that it would help the referees out and give the referees a bit of an easier time on the field and off the field even? You know, is that why you were happy about it coming in? Because it was an added tool for the referees, or what was it, or what was the reason? I'd just like to know. It really has ruined the buzz of a goal, the celebrations of players. It just seems so far removed from the intellectual prowess. It's pathetic and frustrating as fuck. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just want football that keeps me awake. Love a top half finish.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to see some better football under Lopetegui. It won't. The bar's pretty low, isn't it? Especially how we finished the season. We seem to be getting deeper and deeper as we got deeper and deeper into the season.
Yeah.
So
we lost a lot of our, you know, verve in since January, really.
Yeah. So let's hope there's a.
I mean, some would say we overachieved over Christmas. You know, over the Christmas period. And we played a lot of games and won a lot of games over that period. You know, come the new year, it all changed. But then that was just after the David Moyes announcement that he was going to wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, lots being made about that at the moment, and you know, there was those that had their social media campaigns and wanted to be the influencers of that and force the issue, and also on the other side, that those are those that were trying to force the issue about saying giving him a 3-year contract at that time, etc., etc. So the noise was all about it, and to that degree that the mainstream media picked up on it and introduced it into the press conference and asked questions about it, and then it got dealt with, and now I don't think it got dealt with particularly satisfactorily, by the way.
No.
But it got dealt with by whatever answer, which really just added fuel to the fire, and now has been cited as a reason for the downturn in the second half. I'm not sure I believe to that.
That's a great comment from Keith there, by the way.
Yeah, I left it up there because we were chatting about this. But yeah, I'm not sure I buy into it quite as much as it's being peddled in that way.
Mm.
That's Kevin Nolan that was saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keith saying VAR influences the match referee, encourages them to reverse their on-field decision. And we, as fans, need to hear what they say. Are refs being influenced? Well, we can't say categorically whether they are or they aren't being influenced. I personally don't believe that they are. But I completely agree that we should.
I mean, that's a valid question, though. Are they being influenced or instructed? You know.
Well, yeah, like I say, it depends on your viewpoint. My viewpoint is no, I don't believe influenced. Well, I think refs are being influenced by VAR just by Keith's comment to say it encourages them to reverse their on-field decision, and I think the pressures of VAR on the screen and going through a decision does put pressure on them to reverse their on-field decision. And I think I would like to see a few more instances where referees, and I think there have been some, could say, no, I uphold my decision not to give this or go against VAR. I think it might even
by its very nature,
bring a bit more integrity to it all.
Yeah.
Personally.
By its very nature, though, the referee being called to the screens and having conversations going on in his ear, by the very nature of that there is some influence going on now, because he's been influenced to go and view it for himself, or instructed to.
Yeah, so in that term, that he is being influenced and instructed.
But in the decision making itself, I'd like to know what's being said in his ear while he's watching.
No, I think we would all love that, and I think we would all advocate and campaign for that. I sort of spoke on it earlier about refs being mic'd up, but I think we all agree that. I think that is a necessary step, and I think it shouldn't even be a next step. It should have been done already. It should be implemented probably from the get-go.
I mean, look, it works so well in other sports, as we mentioned, rugby, cricket, NBA, American football. All of those sports over there, they have it, like ice hockey and all of that. So what is it that the FA don't want us to know? It sounds like they're hiding something.
Well, like I said before, I just think they're a bit incompetent and not professional enough in the way they communicate, and they should be. That's not an excuse. I think it's part of the reason. Happy saying Brady needs to just do one. Seriously, the woman does her Sweden. She wants a say in fucking signings now. I don't know about that, Happy. So you have to enlighten me. What's she doing? What's she saying? What's she producing? Are you aware about that, Budgie?
No, I'm not, but I am aware that if Baroness Brady ever claims the title of Mrs. West Ham, I know that Happy will scratch her eyes out. That's all I know.
Happy said, I think it's 37.5%. I think she's probably referring to the shareholdings we were talking about.
The amount of shares. Yeah.
Sally's shares, I think, because I think they're somewhere
not as far as I'm aware.
What's that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag.
No,
did he
me
get
either. I think he's still in place. I've kind of kept an eye out in case anything happened on that because there was so much talk about it for the cup final, but I haven't heard anything as yet. So yes, all VAR retired referees. Yeah, well, I think they have to be. And yet he says he needs to become a referee. We need more referees like Yeti.
Mate, I'll tell you, he'd be going into tackles, he would.
It keeps giving him a bit of encouragement there.
Actually, Keith, you're doing yourself a disservice there. He said if he can get badged, anyone can. Nah, mate. You had previous experience in keeping peace. So let's not go there.
Keep saying the laws of the game say it has to be clear and obvious. So restrict VAR decisions to within 90 seconds if they cannot decide by. It's not clear and obvious.
Yeah, and obvious.
I think there's something to be said that. I didn't know that the laws of the game said it had to be clear and obvious.
Yeah. I mean, that's been, a spoken. People have referenced that for last 10 years, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no, it's referenced all of the time, but I didn't know it was like incorporated within the laws of the game.
I think that's probably why it's referenced so much, I would imagine, because it is part of the laws of the game. It's like one of the laws of the game is that you can only field 11 players at any one time. Anybody that fields more is automatically, what do you call it? Disqualified from the game. If you fielded 12 players, you'd be disqualified from the game. So it's one of the laws of the game. And another one is that, offsides and fouls and stuff has to be clear and obvious. Which I suppose helps to reduce the personal opinion from it, the human element.
Rosie's saying, Happy's spot on. When a goal is scored nowadays, you're waiting to see if it's been chopped off. Took away the excitement. And it is, hasn't it? I mean, the days of a quick glance to the linesman, are long gone, aren't they? Like, you're looking at the linesman, and then you're looking at the screen for the VAR check, and there's always a VAR
the linesman and the referee are talking as well.
Yeah.
They're all on the same, I suppose, frequency, band, wave, whatever. They're all on the same thing. So, like the referee puts his flag up for our benefit, for the benefit of the players, for the benefit of TV. Don't do it for the ref now. He'll go offside ref, or he'll go flag in, you know what I mean, or whatever. And the referee gets an audible warning that the flag's gone up as well.
I've caught up with Ian's decision, the comment that we discussed previously now, so back on track. So I think that's when it must be when your screen was freezing.
Oh, right.
And Keith's referring to Ian's comment there that we spoke about, but it is true as well. I agree with it. We talk about it every week. We talked about it every week.
It's like doing the cap when you're having your breakfast with all your workmates.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do think it's more so now.
Your phone or whatever. Yeah. so much joy has gone out of the game, though, hasn't it? You know, in so many different ways.
And Ian must be, that was when I must have been having my Sheffield United rant about Mick Burnley and what have you.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
let you read that. I'm going to grab myself a beer, Budgie. You ever read it?
All right, yeah, go on, go for it, mate.
I'll catch up.
Read VAR. Initially, it was being introduced for offside calls, and we needed that. Correct, I agree. But now it's being used for everything, and as such, the handball law is now a mess. I agree with that. Whole thing's a mess, and I agree with that. But Keith, I mean, the simple fact is that the referees have got like the last word, haven't they? Surely, I mean, surely the last word is the referees. Now, your earlier comment about are they being influenced or instructed ties in with this one as well, because, you know, now, as you say, VAR are getting involved in everything, even off-ball incidents. They're calling the referee back on. I noticed that in one of the playoff games, and it's just ludicrous now, because how many referees do you need for a game? You know, we've gone through 150-year period of association football, or the best part of 150 years, and we've had 8 years of VAR. No, not even that, is it? 3 years, and it's become an absolute farce. I have just got to get my laptop charger. 2 seconds, mate.
No problem, mate. Yeah, I heard what you were saying. I could hear while I was on the way to the fridge. I agree. I agree with you, Keith. It is being used for everything, and I think the waters have got muddier. And the handball law, yeah, I'm not sure anyone really knows what's handball anymore. Seems to be more subjective now than it ever has been, with decisions that are given one week and not the next. And James, thanks for joining us. No problem. Good to see you. And he says, good evening, chaps and chapsets. And sorry. Ian saying he was also in favour of VAR at first, Keith. But to coin my most hated phrase of late, perhaps we should have been careful what we wish for. Yeah, there's a time when that phrase fits.
Sorry, that would be a view that my OnlyFans crew will be familiar with, I expect.
Oh, yeah.
Right, anyway.
Keith says he knows that referees are told what's expected of them in a particular.
Right. Yeah, so reading between the lines of that then, right, we want Team A to get the points out of this game. We want Team B to have a couple of, you know, red cards or a couple of yellow cards or whatever the case may be. Them kind of instructions, I would imagine. I'm not saying that's the case. Instructions.
I don't know. I'm sure Keith will clear that up, but I would imagine. I don't think.
Actually, I know what Keith's answer will be. It'll be there are no specific instructions like you must card 4 people or anything like that. It won't be like anything like that. But like I'm saying, you know, reading between the lines, which, you know, referees will do when instructions are given to them, you know. We feel that Team A have got a much better chance at, you know, getting the title, but Team B have a fair chance of retaining the title, for example. So, they kind of, I would imagine it's something along them lines, you know what I mean?
You're putting quite a lot of words in Keith's mouth there, though.
Yeah, I am, really. Well, no, actually, these are words out of my own mouth. I'm saying I'm writing in between the lines, as it were.
James is
Anyway, let's
saying
move on from that.
VAR was trialled at the Confederations Cup a year before the Russian World Cup, and it was a dog's dinner. Then, for that very reason alone, it didn't stop the fans wanting it, though. The only thing I will say about VAR is, at the competitions, it seems to work an awful lot better, an awful lot quicker.
Yeah,
Than it
I
does
agree.
in week-to-week experience in the Premier League. Not saying
where's
it's
this-
not without talking point, but
Where,
doesn't seem
where
to
are
be
the
quite as
Euros being
much.
held this year, Jeff?
Germany.
Right. Let's see how efficient it is in Germany.
Next potential angle. Thanks for joining us. As you missed the
Good evening, sir.
notification, and we're 2 hours in.
Yeah. 90 seconds. Yeah, I agree.
Leslie's talking about the 90 seconds that
Yeah,
saying about
for VAR, yeah.
clearing off us. Simon's in the house. Hi, Simon.
Good
Thanks
evening,
for
Simon.
popping in.
How are you, sir?
Pick up yourself.
He's saying hello to everybody in the chat.
James hates VAT. I saw Rosie's comment before about that. Thank you, Simon. So I keep saying we were always told at referee school that we had to be 100% certain in our mind when the decision should not be given. But that's sort of...
Yeah. But then that was before this kind of technology was being implemented, to be honest with you, Keith. So everything relied on the referee and the assistants. Everything relied on that. Even like television replays were no influence on the game. We could see where the mistakes were being made by the officials, but everything relied on the officials then. So, I can imagine.
Anger here. Yeah. Saying that his biggest gripe is them holding the flag until play concludes, just allows for possible injuries could be avoided, his opinion, and letting play go on when the linesman knows it will be called back. I must admit, I think all of us find that a bit frustrating, and I'm surprised it hasn't led to anyone really getting seriously injured.
Like a one-on-one with a keeper or something, and the keeper gets a boot in the face, or the player gets his leg broken because the keeper's coming
I think we've all seen that scenario in our mind's eye and thought this is going to happen.
Look what happened to Cudicini.
But it hasn't really yet, so that's surprising for me, but I agree completely with the sentiment. And Simon saying nowadays feels like the clubs don't care about the fans anymore. I think it's a bit of a disease in modern football, actually.
I think what it is they don't care where the fans come from.
They just want to see the turnover.
So they just want bums on seats, basically. So if we can fill it up with a load of, visitors from China and a load of visitors from America and a load of visitors from Spain and a load of visitors from Italy or wherever, then we'll do that. It doesn't matter to us because we're getting paid for it. As long as there's bums on seats, we're earning money. And they don't care about whose bums are on seats. There are some clubs that actually do have good repertoire with their fan base. West Ham aren't really one of them, and yet they've got a very loyal fan base. Very loyal. But, you look at clubs like Brentford, for example, right? Now, Thomas Frank, once every month or 6 weeks or whatever it is, goes to a local community centre with about 500 fans in there, and they field questions to him. He does that. He has a connection with the fan base. The club have a connection with the fan base. We don't really generally do that too much. we get a lot of ex-players doing it. That some of them are, you know, representatives of the club, you know, but they're just ambassadors, really, to be fair. They don't really know what the workings are and that, but, you know, what I'm saying is that there needs to be a lot more of that within clubs. I agree with you, Simon. Only Budgie fans. Like that, you mean?
I keep saying that some referees across the world of football have also been sacked, arrested for match fixing with cards and penalties. So, I mean, yeah, I think we're quite fortunate.
Yeah, I mean,
with the integrity of our referees in the main, and I take Keith's point. I think there's always going to be a few bad, someone who can be got at.
Not every referee can be like Pierluigi Collina, right? Not everyone can. I mean, look, I think he's unanimously around the world regarded as the best referee the world has ever known. You know, I'm fairly sure that if you held a poll, I reckon 99% of people would vote for him. You know,
thankfully, yeah, I think the bad apples are few and far between in the game, in the main. Could be way off the mark. Corruption could be much deeper and much more prevalent than I believe it to be. But hopefully,
I mean, there was a lot of speculation and animosity about one of our European games last season, wasn't there? One of the referees had been done for, or had been demoted or something, and then worked his way back up for making poor decisions. And I think he'd taken a bung or something. I don't exactly know what it was now. I've had a lot of alcohol since then.
Evening, Lucas. Thanks for joining us.
Lucas, good evening, sir. Hang on. Oh.
Lucas on 1 week. Talking about Bayern here. What about company to Bayern? Did that take you by surprise, Budgie?
It did. It did. Thomas Tuchel's just been sacked from there, yeah?
Yeah, he's leaving, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
It was announced. It was like a clock long goodbye, wasn't it? They announced it early doors that he.
Okay. But to replace him with a guy that's just been relegated, okay, his playing reputation is shiny and new, you know. But as a manager, you can't just judge him on the relegation. The Premier League is the hardest league in the world to get into and to stay into. So the Championship is equally as difficult in some respects. And they managed to dominate that with him at the helm. It was a big step up for him in the Premier League because he had a Championship side. He didn't have a Premier League side to play along, you know, along his instructions. And now he's going to Bayern Munich, arguably the top club in Germany. Not necessarily league winners this year, obviously, but they are the top club in the country. He's going to have all the best players, including Harry Kane. So let's judge him on his first season at Bayern Munich. I think they're very, very brave to take a chance on him, but I can see him being very successful.
Yeah, I'd like
him to have come here to West Ham.
Not for me personally at West Ham.
He was one of the guys that I looked at that I thought would be
I understand that. And a couple of other people mentioned it. It's been in discussions. my reasoning for not, he played lovely football. His style's great. His attitude's great. His outlook, brilliant. But one of the things we criticised Moyes for, and I touched on this in the conversation with you, I'm sure, before Budgie, is we knocked him for having only one way, not being flexible in his tactics and one thing or another.
Yeah,
and,
you're right. We did. We've spoken about
Company
it
did exactly the same thing with Burnley. Got them keep doing the same thing over and over again, and ultimately relegated. So for me, I didn't particularly want him at West Ham. Not
I can understand that, mate.
Playing style's decent and that, but for those kind of reasons. But I happen to agree that I actually think it was all very noble what he tried to do at Bayern, at Burnley. But I actually do think that philosophy with better players and actually being the best team in the league rather than the worst team in the league will work very well for him. And I anticipate him doing very well at Bayern. It does seem a strange appointment, but I can kind of see why they've gone for him.
Yeah,
I do think he'll do well there.
It's kind of like if Graham Potter had worked out at Chelsea, that would have been a masterstroke. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't it?
Yeah, well.
It's a similar thing with Bayern Munich now with Company.
Yeah, we'll see.
If he works out, it's a masterstroke because, you know, at the time, you know, Burnley were probably considering their options. He was probably considering his options. And it worked out well for all three of them, really, to be fair. Both clubs and the manager, the coach. I actually really want him to do well there.
What do you think of Rose's question here about do we think that we play better in Europe because we have a mental block in the Premier League?
There is probably some merit in that, Rosie. I think that West Ham historically do better in competitions like knockout competitions than they do league scenarios. We've always been a bit of a rubber ball when it comes to the league. Whereas if we get into a cup competition or a knockout competition of any description, we generally do fairly well in it. You know, okay, we haven't always reached the finals, but we generally do really, really well in cup competition because of knockout scenario. So it's all or nothing on the pitch. Whereas with a league scenario, up until the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks of the season, you can always think to yourself, and players will do it, there's always next week. You know? So, in answer to your question, yes, there is some kind of mental block because there's always that. I'm making assumptions, but it's how I was when I was playing football. I never played at that kind of level, obviously, but you know, in league games, if we didn't have such a good game, there's always next week. I'll play better next week, or we'll get a win next week, or we'll at least be able to draw next week. You know, whereas in cup competitions and stuff, you don't have that limitation. It's all or nothing.
Well, the thing is, half of the competition's in a league format, though. So
now.
Yeah. So do we play?
But we've been very fortunate with the group selections that we've been in. Okay, right. We've beaten some big names on the way, but a lot of them have been relatively unknown teams. You know, the likes of Larnaca and that. Yeah, okay. You can only beat who's put in front of you. But at the end of the day, we've done quite well in domestic cup recently as well.
Yeah, right. But we say that about things like Larnaca, we're playing far out, so easy. It's a couple of years ago, before we qualified for the Europa League, we couldn't get past Astra Giorgio twice, right? Proper fucking Farmers League, that was. They were actual farmers, right? So I think we shouldn't be quite so dismissive, you know.
No, of course, but we had a very
in the
different
league
playing set of players then as
format,
well.
in the Conference League, perhaps the league competition wasn't as stiff. Certainly wasn't as stiff as we face in the Premier League every week.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the problem as well, isn't it? At the end of the day, we're playing, certainly in Premier League standards, lesser opposition once we're playing in Europe. So therefore, we should be
to be
better
fair,
side, right?
To be fair, we played better in Europe when we were in the Conference League than we did in the league. We were struggling in the league, so we put a lot of effort into that competition, and I think it's because David Moyes needed to achieve something with us. He needed to achieve something. We were struggling in the league anyway, and he put a lot more effort into the Conference League. And let's not fool ourselves. Conference League was a much easier competition than the Premier League.
Yeah,
much easier.
We were one of the best teams in the Conference League before a ball was kicked, right?
Yeah,
There's a handful of teams in there that were like, higher caliber, if you like, and we were one of the higher caliber sides, right? So but Villa were the favourites, weren't they? One of the high caliber sides this year.
Yeah,
and it'd have been nice for them, to go on and do it and win.
And look where they finished in the league as well.
Teams. But they fell short, haven't they? So they couldn't quite carry it off.
Yeah. But then that's because West Ham are massive.
Ian's just commenting on the company thing we were talking about there. He says he will need time at Bayern. Xabi Alonso will be rubbing his hands together for next season. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Leverkusen next season.
Yeah.
They've had such a
some people are just
season.
Quoting it as being like a Leicester scenario.
Well, I mean, they've had a magnificent season, and it's no mean feat to go. They were defeated once, weren't they, in the final, basically.
Yeah.
They've had a brilliant season, but now, they've got to follow that up. They're now the champions, aren't they? And they're now in the Champions League. There'll be a different challenge for them next year. So
just so that the Arsenal fans in the chat know, they have just won their league unbeaten. So now we'll have to start calling them the Invincibles.
King Mikel, I can't translate what King Mikel's written there. So
no,
I don't know what. No, so I'll have to skip by that. But thanks for your comment. Rose is saying Rangers got into Europe this season and Benfica beat us. I was just glad to be in it. We need to concentrate on home games. We have a mental block playing Celtic. They're never in Europe. Okay, so Rose is talking about up in Scotland there.
Yeah, the SPL,
Yeah. And Rangers qualified for Europe this year, did they, Rosie? Are they in Europe next season?
Yeah. Did they? They finished second, didn't they?
Second, so they'll be in again, won't they? And Rosie's just saying it's just interesting that you all play in Europe. You've done well recently, definitely. Yeah, we have done well recently. No denying that. It's been a nice little European adventure for us West Ham fans.
A lot of that is down to the management. A lot of it is. A lot of it is down to individuals on the pitch. The likes of Pablo Fornals was incredible during our first 2 seasons in Europe. And Lucas Paqueta and Jared Bowen and Thomas Socek, they all need a mention because they were incredible in that European journey throughout the whole journey.
Ian makes a good point here, Budgie. He says, with regards to Europe, some of the only credit that he gives to Moyes was that his safety-first football was ideally suited to Euro football, particularly two-leg ties. I think there is something in that.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that.
I think there is, but I will say that I think his ultra-cautious approach out in Germany ultimately cost us.
Outside us, yeah.
In the end. So I think he's right in what he says there. But I think his ultra cautious approach out at Leverkusen, we gave ourselves a step too far.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off soon, mate. I've been on here 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no problem, Budgie. Thanks for filling in for me while I was.
It's all good, mate. It's all good. It's all good. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for joining in, and thank you for your comments and everything else. And Jeff, glad you got your tech sorted out.
Got it sorted in the end.
And as you can hear, I can't stop coughing, so it's bloody annoying. But yeah, thanks, Jeff. I'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for popping in, Budgie, and holding the fort for us, mate.
And thanks to everybody in the chat once again. Thanks to Happy for your moderating. See you later. Take care.
See you later, buddy. Trudge says, and thanks for joining us, Trudge. He says, company has a huge head. He just needs to fill it with managerial experience or via managerial experience. Okay. You're replying to King Mikel, are you happy? So a top 10 finish, I guess, is the question must have been, what was our expectations or something like that? Okay, guys, well, I'm going to work my way through these comments, try and get myself to the bottom. Just like to thank you all for joining us and being with us the last few weeks of the season. I'll probably be doing a few bits and pieces over the summer. Might do a couple of little videos, probably do a few live shows over the Euros, and as and when there's significant West Ham news going on. Please throw some suggestions in the comments. If you'd like to see anything for next season or through the summer, and I'll try and do a few bits and pieces for you. If you've got any ideas for some shows you'd like to see. Okay, thanks, Hammy. He asked where we're right. Yeah, I agree with you. Top 10 would be decent for us next year. Okay, yeah, so I'll try and do a few bits through the summer for you, so that we just got nothing going on. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you would. Share it on your socials and try and get the word out, and we'll build the audience up and keep doing a few more of these shows and get your opinions coming in. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me. It's been a great show. Sorry about the technical issues at the beginning, but I'm sure Mick and Budgie done a great job filling in for me while I was out of action. You'll probably be saying, just introduce them and leave every week. That's an option, I guess. But yeah, give us some feedback in the comments, and thanks for joining us all once again. And if I don't see you next week, then I'll see you over the next coming weeks. Thanks, guys. Goodbye now.